A question to Arsenal fans and Arsenal fans only. Have you given up on Gabriel Jesus? I can't lie. If I'm honest, folks, I think I have. You can't blame me for, only getting to this point now. I believe if it was love at first sight, we needed a talisman. We needed a fighter. We needed somebody who got it. And those first 6 months from Gabriel Jesus were electric. He was electrifying. He was terrific. He was Brazilian, as I said, people. He was Jogo Bonito. Fast forward to 2024. If I'm completely honest, and I think you lot would agree, he's a shadow of his former self. And he's 27, turning 28. He's one of the most experienced players within our squad in terms of what we're doing. In terms of looking at our squad, he's one of the players with a strong CV in terms of winning major honours and Premier League trophies and things of that ilk, people. To say his stock has fallen would probably be being too kind to Gabriel Jesus, if I'm honest. Many people for the last couple of years now have wanted him sold, and I think everybody's starting to get there. He's nowhere near the reliable player he once was, and it kills me to say that because I love him as a footballer, people, and I'm still going to give him all the support I can as an Arsenal fan as long as he's at the club. But it's looking like uncomfortable conversations need to be had come the end of the season if this remains, people. As I said, he's nowhere near what he once was. Ahead of this season, I let bias cloud my judgment. As some of you lot would have seen, I said, if he doesn't get 15 goals, I'm going to delete my YouTube channel. I mean, I was drinking the Brazilian Kool-Aid. Allow me, folks, man. I love him as a player. Arteta was even talking bullish in his comments as well going into this season. So you'll have to forgive me for getting gassed. There was too much emotion on the line, people. I love this footballer, and I don't like to, for me anyways, people, I don't like when a footballer comes to our football club, they do very well. The moment they're on their luck and things like that, we kind of give up on them. As Mikel Arteta said, he changed our world. Unfortunately, the world is always changing, and it seems like it's changed again. Personally, I believe both for Mikel Arteta and everyone at Arsenal, I think they've obviously, planned towards this trajectory we've been on, but I think even they would probably be surprised how quickly it's kind of gone for us, people, in the sense that Zinchenko and Gabriel Jesus probably now find themselves in roles that they once occupied at Manchester City, where they're just squad players. And I would argue even less, because Zinchenko is not first or second choice. I guess Gabriel Jesus up front is second choice by default, but that's not necessarily clear cut, especially if we were successful in bringing in a Benjamin Sesko or whatever have you in the summer, people. So it's a shame. Bolton was a low. Yeah, he nutmegged someone and his boot came off and he missed a chance, but at least there was influence. For me, against Southampton, aside fighting relegation, forgive me for being disingenuous to them, I believe it was a chance for him to somewhat remind people that at the very least, he's a great member to have within this squad in our pursuit of Premier League, Champions League, and any sort of cup competitions this season. It felt like another chance passed him by, if I'm completely honest. Gabriel Jesus did not have a single shot on target. His movement, which is, something we've become to expect of him, and give him grace for his lack of goals with that kind of stuff, was also lacking. He had just 5 touches in the box and 1 attempted dribble. He finished the game with an XG of 0.38 and expected assists of 0.06. His pass completion rate was 69%, which is by far the lowest of all the starting players. The only one that's next to him is Calafiori, which obviously he had an even greater impact on that. It's not that he isn't a capable player. We know he has the ability to attack directly. He's very skillful in central and wide positions. His link-up play is great. He presses from the front. He's a fighter. His overall impact is seen in the game. At one point in his career, we criticized the lack of goals. But for me, the Southampton game was a low point because I didn't see him. I've watched the game twice, and granted, when I've watched it twice, I've seen him a lot more, people, when the emotions of a game like against Southampton has died down. But there's nothing there really. Before, it just used to be lack of goals. There's no influence. There's no link-up play. There's no Bobby Dazzler ilk. There's no getting fans off the seats. You look like a shadow of your former self, and it's quite upsetting. But when I remove bias, it's unacceptable really for a team that is trying to aspire. You don't look any more confident than a young Ethan who's fresh out the womb, essentially, where you look at being a Premier League footballer, which is quite sad. As I said, goals are one thing. For a reminder, people, he's now featured in 21 games for Arsenal since he last scored a goal for us, people. That used to be our only critique of him, as I said. Now, for me, it's his impact, it's his influence, it's his decision-making, and everything in between. I won't give up on the player, but his confidence looks gone. He looks like a child who has lost their mother in a park, or been forced to go to school for the very first time as a young boy or young girl. It's a long season. We are going to need him for what's left of this season. We're only 4 or 5 or so games into the Premier League, so I will give him those luxuries, but it's not looking good, Gabriel Jesus, if I'm honest with you. The one thing I'll say in his defense is, once again, as long as he plays for Arsenal, he has my support. It was his first start of the season. I can't expect you to deliver in only your first start where you haven't got minutes in the legs. But then I caveat that with, regardless, surely there should be some sort of impact. And it's a double-edged sword, because, as I said, I can't expect you within those contexts and dynamics to impact the game and be at your free-flowing best. But how are you going to get more extended football? By impacting in that kind of way, really. Mikel Arteta hasn't rotated that much. Of course, he's used the squad where he can, but you're not going to get more prominence within this squad unless something changes in that, people. That was the first time in Gabriel Jesus' Arsenal career where, for me, I would describe him as anonymous, if I'm honest with you. His career at Arsenal has felt stop-start ever since he signed for 45 million from Manchester City in 2022. As we know, in that very year in the World Cup in Qatar, he then suffered an knee injury, and there's been a recurring theme of that. You throw in some groin problems, and Gabriel Jesus is not a reliable player on the field or off it in terms of staying fit, really. So again, I'm not one to care about what people are getting paid or anything of that ilk, but you look at the wages, you look at his fallen stocks. Football Club might sit there and say you're someone that could potentially be moved on next summer, and maybe would have been open to offers last summer potentially. I don't know, people. I mean, let's face it, if you said Kai Havertz, especially when he was in midfield, would eclipse Gabriel Jesus, and not only that, there's a massive gulf in class and in consistency and in goals and in everything that Kai Havertz does versus Gabriel Jesus, we would have thought you were smoking something special. So it's quite funny how life works out. He's nowhere near Kai Havertz. He's second choice striker by default because there isn't anybody else. And yes, there is versatility within his game. He can play in a number of areas. But once again, he's nowhere near Kai Havertz in terms of consistency, in terms of reliability, in terms of importance to the team, in terms of impacting games, even off the bench against Bolton. Didn't Kai Havertz come on and score, really and truly? And again, I made peace a long time ago that Gabriel Jesus would never be a consistent goal scorer, but there's nothing else. If you're not going to be a goal scorer, do other stuff. I remember getting a lot of hate on my YouTube channel for saying Gabriel Jesus reminds me of Lacazette in the sense of, you do all the other things great, I accept you for that, you can score goals, but you're never going to be a consistent goal scorer. It's sad, man, because when Gabriel Jesus signed for our football club, it was viewed as a signal of intent from Mikel Arteta and testament to the club's ambitions, and I'm pretty sure when he signed, that was our first title challenge. Since then, Arsenal have gone up, Gabriel Jesus has gone down, and if you describe the Premier League or what we're trying to do as a football club as an ocean or strong water currents, Gabriel Jesus and a number of players really on the peripheral things are struggling to swim, essentially, people, which is sad. You fast forward 2 years from the point we signed Gabriel Jesus, and it appears that Arsenal may have moved past needing him at the forefront of our attack or even off the bench, people. Last summer window, apparently, in the one that's just gone, apparently Arsenal believed that a fully fit Gabriel Jesus could be a vital part of the squad, which I guess he technically still is, which mitigated the need to press for another forward. We did try to get Sesko, and it seemed like we left it at that, which ultimately we didn't sign a striker in the window, and we were content with the options we've got. Again, people, as the season starts to hit its stride, it seems like once again there is a massive gap between Gabriel Jesus and his other long-term teammates, with the exception of Raheem Sterling, who's here on a loan basis. We're a couple of games into the season, so I will retain some faith. But if this persists, I imagine uncomfortable conversations will need to be had if they're not being had already, people. And it's telling that if you asked Arsenal fans a few years ago, would they ever sell Gabriel Jesus? They would say it's blasphemy to even mutter that sentence. Now, there's probably more Arsenal fans that wouldn't lose any sleep about that potentially happening, people. And let's face it, Gabriel Jesus only has about 2 memorable moments this season. You look at the Haaland little incident where, credit to him, he stuck up for the gaffer. And I don't know what the Wolves defender was doing, but he took a shine to Gabriel Jesus. Why he wasn't sent off, I don't know. Haven't seen an impact in any games, haven't seen any goals. Let's hope that this is just a dark cloud in a sunny season for Gabriel Jesus and Arsenal Football Club, people. That's all I wanted to say. It's looking peak for Jesus. Let me know your thoughts. Do you think he can turn that around? Do you think it's writing on the wall? Would you entertain letting him go in January? Do you think he goes in the summer? Do you think he could grab his spot back from Kai Havertz? Let me know everything. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and leave a comment. We're trying to get towards 70,000 people. I believe we've got 63,000 and some change. So big up to you lot that are part of the DG Nation. We're one big community, people. So on that note, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts. Check out the rest of the other videos. Peace.